Extraordinary reveal. Billionaire's final wish TOC Maid exposes a hidden, life-changing truth. Eliza Hart sat at her kitchen table, her fingers wrapped tightly around a chipped mug. Her heart raced as she stared at the newspaper headline that sent a tremor through her quiet little town. Extraordinary reveal. Billionaire's final wish TOC Maid exposes a hidden, life-changing truth. The words leapt off the page, sending shockwaves through her. She was the maid, the one whose life had revolved around scrubbing floors, washing dishes, and changing diapers. It felt surreal, almost like a cruel joke. Why would Jeremy Cooper, the recently deceased billionaire whose mansion loomed over their humble neighborhood, want to see her? In that moment, Eliza's two children, Marcus and little Lily, played in the living room, their laughter something she clung to amidst a fraying world. She had long wished for a spark of change, a sign that there was more than just relentless chores and bills piling up. Now all eyes would be on her, her humble existence magnified by the very thing she felt distant from. The gossip of the town buzzed like bees around a hive. "What could he possibly want with her?" murmured Mrs. Thompson over garden fences. "A publicity stunt, no doubt," scoffed Mr. Hayes at the diner. Each voice carved a layer of doubt into Eliza's heart, mixing pride with shame. Marcus, her teenage son, stormed in, his face flushed with frustration. "Mom, you can't be considering this. You want to meet him? Why waste time with the wealthy? They're the reason we struggle. You could be doing something more, something real." His words cut like shards of glass, a heavy burden wrapped in concern. "But Marcus," Eliza whispered, eyes glistening, "this could be an opportunity, maybe for us. We don't need handouts from a man who wouldn't even look at us twice if he were alive," he retorted, leaving Eliza shaken. Each argument deepened the chasm between them, a heart-wrenching dance of dreams and expectations. As Eliza prepared for the meeting, anxiety twisted in her stomach. Memories flooded her mind, the long nights of cleaning, the sacrifices made for laughter at the breakfast table. She longed to shatter the cycle of struggle and give her children a chance at the life they deserved. When the day finally arrived, Eliza stepped into the grand mansion, a place where the air tasted of gilded hopes and heavy burdens. The floors were smooth marble, the halls echoed with muted elegance. But in that moment, her heart pounded, drowned beneath the weight of the unknown. Jeremy Cooper awaited her, not in a lavish throne, but in a modest room, surrounded by simple mementos of a life once filled with dreams. As they spoke, she learned about the shadows of his past, his own struggles that reflected her own. "You see," he said softly, eyes rich with understanding. "The wealth skewed my vision, disconnected me from where I started. We're not so different, you and I." Her heart cracked open, revealing a pathway of possibility. But just as clarity draped over her like a warm blanket, she felt a twist of uncertainty. Could she dare to challenge her life, her son's frustrations, the very fabric that held their community together? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Eliza stood at the threshold of her future, heartbreak and hope entwined, wondering whether the truth she had uncovered would challenge the very walls of her existence. Would the community rally around her or turn away? More importantly, would Marcus understand that their roots might just be their wings? The mansion echoed with possibility, and yet, the fears of what lay ahead loomed larger than ever. Eliza left the mansion with a swirl of emotions battling inside her. The drive home seemed eternal, each moment stretching into the next like the endless rows of trees lining the road. She replayed every word of her conversation with Jeremy Cooper in her mind, his calm resolve contrasting with the storm inside her heart. She felt like a jigsaw puzzle, pieces shifting and struggling to fit together. The man's story resonated, A reminder that wealth and success didn't erase pain, just as her modest life was layered with dreams and sacrifices. Marcus stood at the door when she returned, arms crossed, brow furrowed. He was a protective barrier against whatever changes loomed ahead. Eliza hesitated, the urge to share her experience battling against the weight of his skepticism. "Did he try to lure you with money?" Marcus demanded, stepping forward, his youthful anger bubbling. "You know he's just trying to brush off his conscience." "No, it's not like that." Eliza pushed back gently, holding her palms up as if to calm a brewing storm. "He understands, Marcus. He knows our struggles. Does he? Or is he just using you as some kind of charity project?" "It disgusts me," he snapped, bitterness lacing his words. "Marcus." Eliza raised her voice, surprising herself. "I'm not looking for a handout. But what if this is an opportunity? What if we could change our lives?" For a moment, the room hung heavy with silence. Lily peeked around her brother, her innocent eyes wide, sensing the tension. "What's wrong with Mom?" she asked, her tiny voice cutting through the air. Eliza knelt down, embracing her daughter, drawing comfort from the little girl's warmth. "Nothing, sweetheart. Just a grown-up misunderstanding. Sometimes, good things come wrapped in strange packages." Her son stepped back, face softening as he watched their exchange. "Mom," he said, softer now, "I just don't want you to get hurt, to get your hopes up. The world doesn't work that way." "Neither did I," she replied, taking a moment to gather her thoughts. "Until today. Jeremy's past isn't perfect, but he's trying to make it right. He had a chance to connect, a chance to change." Lily wriggled free from Eliza's embrace. "Can we get ice cream?" she chirped, oblivious to the weight of their conversation. "We can't celebrate yet, honey," Marcus interjected. "There's too much at stake." As night fell, Eliza slid into bed, thoughts swirling. Doubt and fear whispered relentless questions into her ear. What if the community turned against her? What if Marcus continued to resent her choices? She had spent years trapped in the safety of their routine. Suddenly, possibilities stretched out in front of her like a golden ribbon. But it was scary too. The idea of change gnawed at her. It was wild, unpredictable. The next morning, as the sunlight streamed through the window, Eliza flipped open her laptop, her fingers trembling over the keyboard. She was about to contact Jeremy again. What would her next move be? The stakes felt high, but deep down she could feel a shift. Could she dare to ask how he could help her community? But just as she began to type, an unexpected notification popped up. Breaking news. Local Maid's connection to Billionaire'S sparks community controversy. Eliza's breath caught in her throat. What had they said? Who was weighing in on her life now? A heavy sense of dread settled in her stomach. The world was watching, and the reality of her dreams began to feel like a ticking clock, ready to explode. Would she fight back or hide away? Would she rise or fall? The screen blurred as she stared, heart racing, knowing she now stood on the brink of something enormous. Would she forge ahead or retreat into the shadows of her past? Eliza sat frozen in front of her laptop, the weight of the headline crushing down on her like a heavy fog. A million thoughts raced through her mind, each one crashing into the next, creating a turbulent sea of doubt and fear. The room felt both claustrophobic and isolating, as if the walls were closing in on her. She clicked on the notification, her heart drumming in her chest as the article loaded. It detailed the unfortunate circumstances surrounding Jeremy Cooper's life, a philanthropist labeled as a self-serving billionaire. The piece painted a picture of someone who had clawed his way to the top at the expense of others, hinting at scandals tied to his name. "Eliza!" Marcus's voice broke through her haze. He stood at the doorway, arms crossed, an apprehensive look on his face. "What's going on?" She quickly minimized the article, but it was too late. His eyes had already gathered the tension in the room. "Is that about Jeremy? I saw you two talking yesterday." "It's nothing," she said, though her voice quavered slightly. "Nothing? It's all over social media. People are saying you're going to get involved with him or worse." His disbelief hung in the air like a storm cloud. Eliza tried to breathe, tried to find the right words, but they tangled in her throat. She wasn't sure how to explain that despite everything being said, she felt a thread of hope. The community's perspective didn't have to be her reality. Marcus, either he is just feeding you lies and you might actually bite. Do you really think you can trust a guy like that? He interrupted, anger flaring in his voice. Why are you so against this? Eliza's voice rose, frustration spilling over. Just because he's wealthy doesn't make him a monster. Marcus stepped back, his face softening again. I'm just looking out for you. You can't forget who has your back at the end of the day, who always will. Lily peeked around again, earning Eliza's attention. Mom, are we getting ice cream or what? Her innocent chirp broke the tension, and for a moment, Eliza felt the urge to smile despite the heaviness in her heart. Lily, she started, wanting to deflect, but Marcus shook his head slightly. No, he said, gentler now. Mom's got to figure this out first. As the morning sun streamed in through the window, Eliza glanced back at her laptop. The comment section below the article was filled with harsh judgments, opinions flying like arrows. She wanted to scream that she wasn't defined by their perceptions. She was more than just a maid with a connection to a billionaire. Feeling suddenly bold, Eliza opened a blank document. She needed to write a letter to Jeremy. The desire to reach out consumed her. It wasn't about the money or his wealth. It was about what they could accomplish together. Maybe she could change opinions. Maybe she could help. But what if Marcus's fears were valid? What if she was just setting herself up for heartbreak? Just then, her phone buzzed, slicing through her swirling thoughts. A message from Jeremy lit up the screen. Can we talk? I need to explain. Her heart raced at the thought of the conversation they had shared, the glimmer of understanding that had sparked between them. Should she trust him? The news could ruin everything in an instant, but without trying, would she ever know? As she inhaled deeply, preparing to reply, she felt the tangible weight of her decisions bearing down. This was a turning point, a chance to take charge of her narrative. But then another notification chimed in, another breaking update that shadowed her resolve. Tensions rise. Community divided over Maid's connection to billionaire. This was bigger than her now, and as she read the headline, the fight in her stilled. Eliza faced a choice as heavy as the world itself. Could she stand firm against a tide that threatened to engulf her? The stakes had suddenly risen higher than she had realized, and the answer loomed on the horizon like a darkened storm. Would she push forward into the chaos or turn back, seeking safety once more? Eliza's fingers trembled as she stared at her phone, the screen illuminating her face in the dim light of the room. The storm of emotions within her surged, pulling her in multiple directions. One moment, a spark of determination ignited within her. The next, doubt doused it like a splash of cold water. The article had revealed her life in context that felt so alien yet hauntingly familiar. Mom? Lily's voice rang out again, curiosity lacing her tone. The child's innocent eyes glimmered, seeking clarity amidst the chaos that now enveloped the family. Isn't that just a story? Why does it matter so much? Eliza sighed, her heart aching at her daughter's innocent perspective. She wanted to shield her from the world, to protect her from the harsh judgments that seemed to pass from one gossiping neighbor to another online. It matters because Eliza paused, searching for the right words. People can be unfair. They don't see who we really are. Lily nodded slowly, trying to piece together this complicated puzzle of adults she often watched handle life's messes. So should you talk to him? In that moment, Eliza realized Lily had unwittingly laid out the potential path ahead. Yes, I need to talk to him, but I also need to think carefully about what I want. Then you should do it, Lily declared, her small fist finding a tiny, determined pose. You're brave, Mom. Just like Wonder Woman. Eliza chuckled, the weight on her chest seeming to lift for just a moment. Brave, huh? Totally, Lily affirmed, eyes bright. Just then, another notification buzzed violently on her phone, as if pressed with urgency. It wasn't from Jeremy this time, but another update about the community's rising tensions. The headline was unmistakably sharper and more pointed. Maid must choose between loyalty to community or billionaire friend. The walls of the room felt like they were closing in again. Was this really who she was now? Just another headline? A character in a narrative that felt so unfair and utterly wrong? Somewhere deep down, she knew that this conflict wasn't just about her. It was about the lives of everyone in her community, a community she had grown up in and cherished. Taking a deep breath, Eliza opened the messaging app, her heart thudding as she contemplated Jeremy's earlier message. Could he provide the answers she sought? She started typing, her fingers dancing over the keys with an urgency that surprised her. Jeremy, I saw the article. I need to understand everything. Can we meet? Sending the message felt like releasing a balloon into a darkened sky. She watched it disappear, knowing it could soar or get caught in a storm. Minutes later, her phone buzzed, and she held her breath as she opened the response. Meeting tomorrow? I promise I'll explain everything. Eliza had a million questions swirling in her mind, but one stood out among them all. What could Jeremy possibly say that would shift the weight of this narrative? As the sun began setting outside, casting long shadows across the room, Eliza knew she was standing at a crossroads. She could back down, hide from the chaos, or step forward into the unknown. With Lily's brave eyes fixed on her, her heart whispered for courage. She had to follow this path, but which way would it ultimately lead her? The phone chimed again, breaking her thoughts. This time it was a news alert, and the headline seemed to punch her right in the gut. Shocking insight. Billionaire's secret connection to local heroes revealed. Eliza's breath caught. This was more than a fight for her story. This had the potential to change everything. With her mind racing, she wondered, would the truth she was about to uncover reshape her life, or would it shatter everything she held dear? Early morning light peeked through the worn curtains, dust dancing in the rays. Eliza awoke with her heart in her throat, the weight of the day ahead pressing heavily on her chest. The anticipation coiled tight, intertwining with dread. Today she would meet Jeremy. Today, the truth might surface. Lily was already awake, bouncing around the kitchen with her usual vigor. The aroma of pancakes filled the space, and Eliza marveled at how such simplicity offered a semblance of normalcy amidst the chaos outside their doors. "Mom," Lily chirped, a sticky spoon in her hand. "Can we make animals out of the pancakes today?" "Sure, why not?" Eliza replied, forcing a smile. It was hard to embrace joy when the gravity of the day loomed like dark clouds. But Lily's laughter was a lifeline she clung to as they crafted pancake bears and bunny shapes. Laughter filled the kitchen. For a moment, Eliza allowed herself to forget the headlines swirling outside like autumn leaves caught in a gust. But every bite she took felt like a countdown, each minute ticking louder than the last. Once breakfast was done and the dishes washed, Eliza felt the pull toward the door. She needed to prepare herself for the meeting, but first, she sat across from Lily on the couch, an unexpected mischief in the air. "Do you think Wonder Woman has brave conversations when she has tough choices to make?" Lily nodded, her brow furrowing in thought. "Yeah. She has to be really strong and take care of her friends." "Exactly," Eliza smiled softly. "Just like I have to figure out how to take care of my friends, especially you." With a final hug, Eliza grabbed her keys and stepped outside. The air felt charged, the storm of emotions clashing within her. Streets that once felt familiar now seemed hostile, as if the neighborhood whispered judgments as she passed. She could sense the eyes watching her, assessing her worth based on the latest article. At the cafe where they would meet, she arrived early. The place buzzed with patrons, the clinking of cups and soft chatter filling her ears. Yet, her heart raced at the anticipation of seeing Jeremy. His earlier message echoed in her mind, promising clarity. Would he offer insights, or would it only deepen her uncertainty? When he finally walked in, casually dressed but with a presence that demanded attention, she noticed the weight he carried in his eyes as well. They locked gazes across the room, and she felt an unspoken understanding, a mix of tension and hope between them. "Thanks for coming," he said, sliding into the booth across from her. His voice contained a mix of relief and concern. "Let us just cut to the chase, shall we?" Eliza said, refusing to glide around the complexities any longer. Jeremy nodded, taking a breath as he leaned in. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. The article, the community tensions. There's something you need to know about why I reached out to you. As he spoke, Eliza braced herself. This was it, the moment where everything could change: her life, her community, maybe even how she saw herself. But just then, a loud crash interrupted them. A protest formed outside the cafe, signs raised high, chanting echoes reflected in the glass. Maid behind the billionaire. Answers now. Eliza's heart sank. The truth seemed ready to pour out, yet the noise intensified the chaos looming over her. What did you want to tell me? She urged, desperation creeping into her voice as she battled to focus. Jeremy looked deeply into her eyes, his own mirroring her fears. It's about the connection we share, and it's bigger than both of us. The world around them faded as those words hung heavy in the air. What hidden truths lay between them, waiting to be uncovered? Would this revelation bring healing or more turmoil? Eliza felt the pulse of history, hanging by a thread, as she waited for Jeremy's answer. Eliza held her breath, her chest tightening as she leaned in closer. What do you mean? What connection? Jeremy fidgeted with his coffee cup, his gaze flickering toward the window where protesters clamored with urgency. I didn't know how to say this. His voice was low, strained. Our families, they've been intertwined for longer than either of us realize. I didn't want to bring up history without knowing how you'd react. What are you talking about? Eliza felt her pulse quicken. The chaos outside seemed to amplify her anxieties, the chants nearly blending into a muted background noise while she honed in on Jeremy's words. He took a steadying breath, his eyes locking onto hers with intensity. Your mother. She worked for my family. For years. I remember her. We spent time together when we were kids. Eliza's heart thudded, a heaviness settling in her stomach. What? No, that's not possible. Memories of her mother flooded her mind. Happy moments, laughter over pancakes, warmth beneath blankets of shared secrets. But a connection to Jeremy and his family? It felt like a puzzle piece that didn't fit, and yet the harder she tried to deny it, the more she sensed its truth. I know it sounds crazy, Jeremy said softly, but I've done the digging. After the article, I couldn't help but want to understand. Look, I asked around. I was still finding out about the history between the families when everything blew up. And you think that's what the protest is about? Eliza whispered, realization dawning. The connection felt like a labored breath, awkward and heavy with implications she wasn't sure she was ready to face. It's part of it, Jeremy said. Your mother had her reasons for leaving. I don't know the full story, but something about that past is surfacing now, and it could change everything for both of us. We can't ignore it. Just then, the cafe door swung open, and a group of protesters flooded the space, faces red with anger and determination. They shouted, demanding answers, courageous yet desperate. Eliza's heart raced, caught in the tension between her past and present. Maybe we should go, Jeremy suggested, his voice drowned out by the escalating chants. It's getting too heated. But Eliza didn't move. She felt rooted, anchored by the weight of Jeremy's revelation. It wasn't just about them anymore. It was about her mother's unspoken past and how it had suddenly intertwined with her fate. Wait, she urged, her voice rising above the chaos. We need to figure this out now. If my mom was connected to your family, what did she know? Why did she leave? Jeremy's expression shifted, uncertainty mingling with determination. I promise, I'll help you find out, but we need to be careful. There's more at stake here than just us. The crowd outside continued its raucous crescendo, and Eliza's heart thudded in time with the hurried bass of chants. There was urgency in her thoughts, a need for answers that could rewrite everything she knew about her family. Okay, she said finally, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and resolve. Let us not back down. We need to piece this together. Just then, a familiar face emerged from the crowd, a woman she hadn't seen in years, a figure who carried both nostalgia and dread. Mom? She gasped, her world shifting wildly beneath her. The moment hung dangerously in the air, and Jeremy's expression mirrored her shock. Who was this woman, and what had she come to reveal? This was just the beginning. Eliza's heart raced, thundering in her chest as she stared into the familiar face that loomed before her. The woman looked older, lines carved by time etched into her forehead. It was the same warm smile that had soothed her as a child, but the uncertainty nipped at its edges. "Mom?" Eliza said again, her voice barely above a whisper. She felt the cafe swirling around her, the noise of the protesters fading into an echo. All that mattered was the woman standing just a few feet away, her mother. Liza, her mother's voice trembled, a mix of relief and dread washing over her features. "I didn't expect to find you here. Why are you here?" Eliza stepped closer, her heart bouncing like a rubber ball inside her chest. "What's going on?" I thought you left for good." "I did," her mother replied, the weight of each word hanging heavily. "But I never stopped watching over you. I had to protect you from what I couldn't change." Jeremy, standing beside Eliza, looked torn between shock and concern. His eyes darted from Eliza to her mother, that unspoken tension crackling in the air. "Protect me from what?" Eliza pressed, her frustration bubbling. "You can't just show up after all these years and not explain. What did you know about our families?" Her mother hesitated, glancing around as if the very walls had ears. "Can we talk somewhere quieter?" "No." Eliza's voice was firm. "Now." The resolve in Eliza's voice was unyielding. It felt like they were on the brink of tearing down barriers that had been built for too long. Her mother sighed deeply, the fear in her eyes evident. "Eliza, this is bigger than both of us. Your life was always meant to be separate from this chaos." "Mom, please." Eliza's breath quickened. "You can't keep hiding the truth. I need to know why you left. Why does Jeremy's family matter? There are things that were hidden, even from me," her mother finally admitted, her voice shaking. "Things I thought I could erase from our lives." "Let's just go to the back," Jeremy suggested, his voice reaching through the noise. "We can figure this out without the crowd." The three of them maneuvered to the cramped back room of the cafe, where the noise fell to a dull roar. Jeremy glanced at Eliza, giving her an encouraging nod, while Eliza's mother seemed to shrink into herself, uncertain. "Okay," Eliza said, her voice steadied by a ripple of conviction. "What do we need to know?" Her mother took a deep breath and began to reveal a past shrouded in secrecy, stories of her time working for Jeremy's family, the choices she had made, and the darkness that lingered. The words rushed out like a breaking dam, pouring forth details that left Eliza reeling. "We were not just connected through work," her mother disclosed, her gaze flicking nervously to Jeremy. "There was a scandal, a betrayal. I'm not sure how much Jeremy knows, but there are ties that could bring danger." Eliza felt the air grow thicker, her mind racing as she attempted to grasp the enormity of it all. "Danger? What kind of danger?" Well, her mother hesitated, the fear returning to her eyes. "The kind that could revisit and threaten everything you have. That's why I had to leave." As the truth unfolded, Eliza's heart sank, each revelation plunging her deeper into a web woven by her family history. The room felt smaller, the walls closing in as the weight of her mother's secrets pressed down on her. "Are you saying our families have a dark connection?" Jeremy asked, his voice barely a whisper. A nod from Eliza's mother was the only answer. "Yes. It's more complicated than you can imagine. I didn't want to drag you into it." Eliza felt a surge of dread, the very foundation of her life wavering like a fragile house of cards. "But you did. All of this, it's going to change everything. What do we do now?" The questions echoed in the silence. They stood on the brink of discovery, cradling the enormity of generations wrapped in shadows. "What if we're not alone in this?" she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. As they looked around the room, Eliza sensed that the walls were listening, patiently waiting for the next chapter to unfold, a truth that could shatter all they thought they knew. What if they were being watched? Who else knew the secrets that might unravel their lives? The silence hung heavy in the cramped back room, thick and suffocating. Eliza couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. She glanced at Jeremy, who looked equally unsettled. His brow furrowed deeper as he shifted on his feet, the tension between them crackling like static in the air. "Mom," Eliza said, her voice a steadying force amidst the chaos swirling in her mind. "What do you mean by danger? What exactly happened?" Her mother's gaze darted to the door, fear etched on her face. "There are people who won't let the past die. People who will do anything to keep their dark secrets buried." "Like threats?" Jeremy interjected, his voice sharper now. "What kind of people?" "They're linked to the business my family was involved in. It's not just corporate politics. It's much more dangerous. They don't forgive easily, especially when it comes to betrayals," her mother replied, her voice trembling. "I thought leaving would protect you both. But it didn't, did it?" Eliza pressed. Her emotions surged, a mix of anger and betrayal. "You left us in the dark. I deserve to know what I'm up against." Her mother's tremulous sigh filled the void. "I was afraid to expose you to this world. I thought if I distanced myself, I could also protect you from the consequences of what I did. But now it seems distance hasn't kept you safe." A chill ran down Eliza's spine as the implications hit her. What if they were already involved, caught in something they couldn't escape? "So what now?" she asked, urgency creeping into her voice. "Do we just wait to see what happens? I want to be a pawn in someone else's game." Jeremy stepped closer, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We can face it together. But we need a plan. Do you have any idea what might happen next?" Eliza clung to her mother's gaze. She needed answers, but fear and pain spun a tapestry of uncertainty around them. "I can share everything I know," her mother whispered, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "But, Eliza, we need to move fast. There are people watching. I can't even begin to tell you how deep this goes." Eliza's heart sank as her stomach twisted. "Then we need to leave now. Taking action is our only option." Her mother nodded, a flicker of determination igniting in her weary eyes. "We should get out of here and regroup. I have a place where we can talk safely." Just then, the door creaked open, revealing a tall figure in the doorway. Jeremy instinctively stepped in front of Eliza, his expression shifting from concern to alertness in an instant. "Looking for someone?" The stranger's voice was smooth, almost mocking. It carried an authority that made the air around them feel more stifling. Eliza felt her pulse race. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. The man stepped further inside, a confident smile plastered on his face. "Let us just say I'm here to ensure that certain family affairs don't become public or messy." Eliza's breath caught in her throat. This was it, the threat she had felt looming over them just moments before had revealed itself. The tension in the room escalated, and she could almost hear the thunder of her heartbeat in her ears. "You're with them, aren't you?" she said, fury bubbling beneath her skin. "Just here to help," he replied coolly, his demeanor unflinching. "But it seems you've gotten wrapped up in something far beyond your control." Eliza exchanged a quick glance with her mother. The web of secrets was tightening around them, and she could feel it. Danger nipped at their heels, forcing them to act, to fight back. "What do you want?" she demanded, her heart racing with a mix of defiance and fear. He shrugged, a predatory glint in his eye. "Oh, I'm here to ensure the right things happen. And you," he pointed at Eliza, "you're right in the middle of it. All I need is a little cooperation." Suddenly, everything she thought she understood shifted. The stakes had risen, and every sentence was a stepping stone into the unknown. Eliza braced herself, knowing that the decisions made in this moment could change everything. "Cooperation?" she echoed, determination hardening within her. Just when she thought she wanted to disappear, an undeniable fire ignited in her spirit instead. "You have no idea with whom you're dealing with." Every eye on the new arrival, the stakes escalated. Who was truly in control, and how far would Eliza and her mother go to reclaim their power? Eliza felt the weight of the room pressing down on her. The stranger, with his slick demeanor and chilling smile, made her skin crawl. Her heartbeat drummed in her ears, drowning out the world around her. She steeled herself, clenching her fists at her sides. This was her moment to reclaim everything she had lost. Cooperation, she reiterated, her voice steady, challenging. You think we'll just fall in line? My mother and I were done being pawns. The stranger raised an eyebrow, intrigued but unimpressed. You misunderstand. It's in your best interests to play along. This isn't just some petty family squabble. It's the kind of mess that can drag you into a world of darkness. Her mother shifted behind her, the fear in her eyes replaced by a flicker of fierce determination. We won't be intimidated, she said, her voice stronger than before. This was a testament to years of hidden strength she hadn't fully revealed to Eliza. We can handle whatever you're threatening us with. We deserve that much. Is that so? He leaned against the doorframe, an unsettling calmness radiating from him. Trust me, you won't find this as easy as you hope. The players here, they don't simply walk away. Jeremy took a step forward, eyes locked onto the stranger, protective instincts flaring. Look, we don't want any trouble. Just tell us what you really want so we can figure this out without escalating things further. The stranger chuckled lightly, as if Jeremy's earnestness amused him. You're all so naive. I told you, I'm here to make sure things stay orderly. But how you respond will determine your fate. Imagine keeping your lives intact or risking everything. His gaze shifted to Eliza with a patronizing glint. But tell me, what would you do if faced with real loss? Eliza's stomach churned at the thought. Anger coursed through her veins. We won't let fear dictate our choices. Whatever you're threatening, we can handle it. Really? The stranger's tone shifted, now laced with a dubious edge. Let us see how resilient those words are when you find one of your own hurt or worse. All in the name of protecting those you care about. It can be so easy to lose control. The air thickened, suffocating any lingering hope. Eliza knew he was trying to intimidate them, but instead, it ignited a flame within her. Try us, she spat, unwilling to show any sign of weakness. Let us not pretend, he replied with a sly grin. You're hunting shadows just as they are. And it's only a matter of time before you realize how very real those shadows can be. With a sharp intake of breath, Eliza exchanged a glance with her mother. We aren't afraid of whatever's out there, her mother declared fiercely, her voice rising above the tension. We will find a way out of this mess. The stranger's amusement faded as he glanced from the duo to Jeremy. Courage is noble, he stated, his voice dropping to a low growl. But it can also be reckless. Know this, the moment you think you are running away, they will come for you. All of you. Who are you so afraid of? Jeremy asked, his brow wrinkled in concentration, trying to map out potential paths ahead. Just consider this a warning, the stranger said, his eyes narrowing like a hawk sizing up his prey. Perhaps you should reconsider your position. With that, he turned and strode out, the door slamming shut behind him. Eliza stood frozen, the echo of the door crashing back sending shockwaves through the room. What just happened? She breathed, her heart racing faster than before. What did he mean by all of that? More than we could know, her mother replied, shaking her head as if to clear it. But we need to act now. We have to figure out how not to be victims before it's too late. Eliza felt adrenaline surging through her. Then let us start digging. We need answers, and we need them fast. A sudden ringing echoed in the silence, jolting Eliza back to reality. It was her phone vibrating on the table. Seeing the name flash across the screen sent a new wave of panic through her. It was a number she didn't recognize, but familiar enough that it sent icy fingers down her spine. Who is it? Jeremy asked, leaning closer. She swiped to answer, her voice shaky as she greeted the caller. Hello? The silence that followed was deafening, the weight of expectation almost unbearable. Then, a voice erupted through the line. A voice she hadn't heard in years, one that brought both dread and hope flooding back. Eliza, you need to listen to me. They're coming for you. In that moment, the truth was about to unravel, and she was about to plunge deeper into something unfathomable. Knowing who was behind the voice would change everything. Who? She gasped, her grip tightening around the phone, heart racing wildly. Your life depends on knowing what lay ahead threatened to alter their world forever. And Eliza could feel the storm closing in. Would she have the strength to face it? Eliza's heart pounded in her chest as she gripped the phone, her knuckles white against the plastic surface. That voice, familiar yet distant, sent a shiver down her spine. "Who is this?" she demanded, urgency spilling out in her tone. "Think back, Eliza. You have to remember. They're not just shadows. They are very real." The voice was urgent, demanding her attention. "It's about your mother's past. They know you're digging." "Wait," Eliza interrupted, her mind racing. "Who are they? What do you want from me?" "I can't explain everything now," the voice said, panic lacing the words. "But if you're curious, if you've begun to uncover things, they will come for you. You have to stay hidden." Eliza's stomach dropped, a warning echoing in her ears. She exchanged a frantic look with her mother and Jeremy as the gravity of the situation weighed heavier. "Listen," she urged, fighting to keep her composure. "I need to know what I'm up against. Surely there's more you can tell me. Why did my mom leave? What did she do?" The line crackled but remained silent. Just as she felt the icy grip of fear tightening, the voice broke back in. "Eliza, you have to trust your instincts. Protect your family at all costs." Then a loud thud reverberated through the receiver, and the call dropped, leaving Eliza standing there, her heart racing like a freight train. "What was that?" Jeremy asked, worry flaring in his eyes. "I don't know," she replied breathlessly. The room felt charged with an energy that put her on edge, sensing that they were all teetering on the brink of something monumental. "Whoever that was, they're scared for us." Eliza's mother stepped forward, her expression stern yet encouraging. "It's time we uncover the truth together. We can't be afraid anymore." "Agreed," Jeremy added, determination pumping through his veins. "But we need a plan. If the information in that caller's warning is right, we'd better move quickly." "Let us go to the library," Eliza spoke suddenly, the idea spreading like wildfire in her mind. "If there's a connection that spans our families, historically speaking, we might find documents, records, maybe even clues. Anything to piece the puzzle together." Hours later, the three of them huddled in the back corner of the dusty library, surrounded by shelves of books that seemed to share their whispered secrets. With each new page turned, the shadows of their past became clearer. Eliza traced the faded ink of a document, her breath hitching as she uncovered links to her mother's history, the struggles and sacrifices entwined with Jeremy's family legacy. "I can't believe this," Jeremy said, shaking his head in disbelief. "This is all so interconnected. Our families pushed against each other for so long." Eliza's breath caught. "But what does it mean for us? There has to be a reason they wanted to hide this." Suddenly, her mother's eyes widened as she fingered through an envelope tucked between the pages of a book, revealing yellowed photographs that showed their past intertwined in startling ways. "We weren't the only ones affected," she whispered, shaking slightly. "Look at the faces in these pictures. There are connections here that go beyond what we imagined." This discovery ignited something in Eliza, fueling the fire within. "We're going to need to confront our history, to figure out how to reclaim our lives," she declared, her voice cutting through the air. "The truth could set us free." But freedom came at a cost. Seconds later, Eliza's phone buzzed in her pocket. She answered cautiously. It was a message from an unknown number. "Stop looking into the past or you'll regret it." Chills crept down her spine as a heavy weight settled over them once more. "See? They're watching," she breathed. "We can't let fear control us." Her mother nodded, that flicker of resolve sparking between them. "We need to stand strong together." "Okay," Jeremy affirmed. "Let us regroup and figure out our next steps. We may be drawing the eye of those who want to keep the past buried, but we're stronger as a team. We can face this." As they left the library, the doors creaked loudly behind them, like the final notes of a haunting melody. Eliza walked forward, her heart heavy yet resolute. No longer just a maid caught in someone else's story. She was reclaiming her narrative, and nothing would stop her. In the days that followed, Eliza commed together with Jeremy and her mother, working tirelessly to build a case against the shadows threatening to loom over them. They reached out to allies, connecting the dots of families entwined by secrets long hidden. But as they prepared for their final stand, they knew they wouldn't just face the past, they would unearth the truth that could change everything. And what they discovered was more than just a shocking family history, it was a lesson on love, resilience, and what it truly meant to be brave in the face of danger. Eliza's heart swelled with newfound strength, as the whispers of her past transformed into a chorus of hope. Together, they would rise, refusing to let fear dictate their future any longer. Now was the moment they would truly begin to rewrite their story. The stakes had never been higher. This is your moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let everyone know you loved this transformation. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this life-changing journey. You need to support the channel. Don't wait not even one more second.